Welcome to My Parents Lied to Me, the podcast about navigating aging, loss, and all the midlife changes no one warned us about. I'm Nicole Porter, here with real stories and expert advice to help you face what's now and what's next. Hello, and welcome to my podcast, My Parents Lied to Me. I'm Nicole Porter. I am with Your Parent Porter, and I also have a background in real estate and hospitality and all the things. And so I'm just here to share so many awesome resources and friends that I have. And today I have my friend Chandra. We were just going over this because I was like, my mom's name was Sandra, but she is CH, Chandra Vargas, and she's a good friend of mine from the real estate world and our spiritual group and all of the fun things. We like to do a lot of personal development together and, just make people's lives better. So I wanted to bring her on here. I have a couple friends that are really good friends, and they're both interior designers, but they both do such different things. And Chandra, I just got to go to her house and see her new renovation. And her husband is also a good friend of mine from the real estate world. So we saw their house. He told us about buying his childhood home, and I just wanted to bring her on and talk more about that because we're at that age where our parents are getting older and the kids take on that responsibility of bringing mom and dad into the house. And is it a good idea, bad idea? How do you design the house to keep them there? And so I just wanted her to share kind of her experience. First of all, I'll let her share about her background and what she really does and all the fun things. And then we'll get into more of her story about multi-generational housing and things like that. So
awesome.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah. I would love for you just to kind of introduce yourself, where you're from, what you do, and how you got into it.
Perfect. Well, my name is Chandra, and I started actually as a fine artist. So in high school, ever since I was a kid, I've always been super creative and very into art and did all sorts of different things. One fun story is I really thought martial arts was going to be an arts class, so I signed up for martial arts to realize that it was not an art class. And my parents were like, you signed up for it, you're going to do it. It was the worst day of my life. Don't do that. Martial arts is not an art. That's fine art. It's totally different. So I really went head deep into fine arts, and I went to all sorts of different colleges and intensives and really focused on that. Got accepted into an art college, moved out for art college, and realized, holy cow, this college is insanely expensive, and I still got an amazing scholarship to go there, and I'm not going to have any practical skills on what to do. And so I was just like, okay, well, I've got 2 weeks to withdraw and not have to pay a bunch of money. So I'm going to jump out and then figure out what I'm going to do. And I was like, obviously I need to be a dog trainer. That didn't work. That was not the right thing. I lasted a few months without doing any kind of artistic outlet. And then immediately changed my major in college to interior design, because really what interior design is an art project, but that has function and science behind it. So I kind of have these two parts of my brain that are very even in the way that they work. I have the full creative outlet, but I really love a puzzle and science and math and all of that. And interior design really blended those two things. So I went through with interior design because it was something I could market. While I was in interior design school, I actually also I went to school to get my real estate license. Okay. And I graduated from college in 2014. At that time, I was an intern for an interior design firm, a boutique, high-end, super luxurious design firm, and then worked my way up to head of operations throughout many years and lots of bumps in the roads and all sorts of different things. But that really was where my interior design world kind of created, and I started learning a lot more about it and getting really interested in it. And then I got really sick. So throughout that time, I was on and off working, on and off school, really trying to take care of myself, ended up totally bedridden, and had to work really hard to get my health back. And so in 2021, I finally was healthy enough, and I started... so it actually relates back to parents because my father-in-law passed away in 2020. Okay. I was finally starting to feel really good around that time, but I was still healing, not good enough to start working in any way, shape, or form. I lost a lot of cognitive abilities. But my father-in-law passed away, and when my father-in-law passed away, he left behind a bunch of houses. And so my husband and I were like, well, shoot, we can't leave this all to my mother-in-law to take care of. She's in depths of grief and all sorts of other stuff, and she has a lot of medical issues as well. And so we were like, well, we need to learn real estate and figure out what the heck to do with these houses. The best way in any career to learn from people is to offer skills that you have and learn from them. So I started offering my design services for free. Like, hey, I'll design your house. Just show me how you bought this house, what you're doing with it, how you're getting rentals in there, how are you managing it, what does your portfolio look like? And I got bit by the design bug again. Oh. And so then I started my firm. And now, since 2021, I have my own firm named Studio Vargas. And we're a high volume firm. We do about 40 to 50 projects a year, ranging from anything from a $300,000 house to multi-million-dollar houses, from a little lipstick change here and there and changing out something, all the way to full-blown ground-up construction. And I manage the whole thing and do it all.
That's really awesome. Yeah. So you were born and raised in Arizona.
Yep.
And native, and so is your husband. And did you go to college out of state?
Yep. So the first college that I went to, I actually was in San Francisco. I stayed in San Francisco for a few months. And then I moved back, and then I went to Portland, Oregon. That's where I went to my second art school. And then moved back, and then my husband and I moved to Tampa, Florida, and he went to school, and then we moved back because we're too close to our family to stay gone for too long.
Oh, that's nice. Do you like being back? It's been a few years now.
Yeah, definitely.
Never leaving again?
Oh, I wouldn't say. We contemplate leaving every summer.
I think we all do. I think we all question our lives in the summer. And then October rolls around and we're like, okay, I love it here. Let's help people buy houses here. Yes. I know that's part of the reason I got into real estate coming from Michigan. I was like, Arizona, I just love it. I love the sunshine. I love the energy of the people. I love the way I feel. I just feel better in Arizona. So that's why I got into real estate. And then with my parents being all the way in Michigan, and then having to deal with the loss of them this last couple of years. That's why, I created Your Parent Porter, and my real estate business has just been kind of on the, I'm licensed and I've had, I've done a few things, but it just hasn't been my primary focus because I found my passion is, was dealing with my parents and trying to understand all the things that happen when your parents' health is declining, when you finally do lose them. I mean, there was just a lot of things I didn't think about or know or ask my parents before they passed. And then my brother and I just kind of had to learn about it. So, I'm sorry to hear that you lost your mother-in-law or father-in-law. But that's why, I love this story is, you came back, you took on real estate, which it's a hard business to be in, and you know that, and your husband's learning that.
Yeah.
And so you guys bought his childhood home. This is I love this story because I bought my childhood home in Michigan, and I thought I would keep it, and I ended up selling it in the fall. But that was because both my parents were gone. My brother, we were done. We were letting go of the memories. But you still, he's got all his memories back, and you got to renovate the house, and Mom lives there with you. Mm-hmm. So what made you decide to renovate that house out of all the houses that you had? Why did you pick that one? And, what did that process look like?
Well, so my husband's childhood home has been a safe haven for us over the years. Me being sick and then losing my career multiple times and income, we would always end up back at Mom and Dad's house, and Mom and Dad would take us in. So that was a safe haven, one. Two, it's the best location in Phoenix, in my opinion. I love that area. My husband loves that area. And also it's where my mother-in-law raised her kids. And so she didn't want to leave either, but we knew that the house wasn't going to work. After my father-in-law, I just call him Dad, after Dad passed, there was a lot of things that were happening to the house that we really needed to immediately take care of. So the roof was starting to go, and the electric's bad and the plumbing's bad. So we knew it wasn't a house that we could sell and find a multi-generational home easily. And my mother-in-law's health was declining. It had been declining before my dad passed. And then it just grief really takes a toll on your body.
Absolutely.
Always does.
For sure.
And so we saw that happening, and we're like, well, we can't really find a better house with a better lot. And guess what? I love destroying houses and putting them back together. So let's do this. And my father-in-law and I actually used to talk about renovating that house all the time. We were going to get into real estate together, but then I just kept getting sick. And so we were like, okay, maybe not. So it's been cool to be like, it's total full circle, and we can feel them in every part of the house. So it's really neat. But yeah.
Yeah. And how does, were you worried about moving in with your mother-in-law, or is it you've already lived with her a few times? It's no big deal. I mean, now you're an adult.
No, it was difficult. I love my mother-in-law so deeply. We have a very, very close relationship, but it's hard, especially as a young family. My husband and I are looking at hopefully having kids, and like the influx of opinions when you're raising kids is something I wasn't really looking forward to. And so we knew that going in, there had to be very strict boundaries. We knew that there wasn't any other way. We weren't going to send mom off to live on her own. We weren't going to send mom off to a care facility. That just wasn't what fit well with us and our values. And so we knew we needed to create some space for her to be in. And we also didn't want her to feel like, she was an afterthought for us. So we really were super intentional about the amount of square footage that we were putting in that house, the way that we were designing the house. So she felt like she had her separation. She could design it and do whatever she wanted to it totally separately. We could do the same thing to us, but also a very easy integration to each other. So she still comes over and hangs out, but there's a level of boundary. There's an invite that happens to both sides, a knock on the door, a hey, do you want to come in, kind of situation. So.
Yeah, because there's separate entrances on that house.
Yep.
Correct.
So essentially the way that you can think about it is we only wanted one front door. This was my mother-in-law's request. She didn't like the idea of having access to the front through her own casita. For her, it was just like safety. She wanted to make sure that there was enough locks to get to her before anything. So we have one front door, but then through the garage, you go through a mudroom. And in that mudroom, you can take a left or you can take a right. The left leads to her, the right leads to us. So we have, my husband and I have about a 1,800 square foot, 3-bed, 2-bath house, totally self-sustaining. Everything about it is self-sustaining. And then my mother-in-law has a 750 square foot, 1-bed, 1-bath, like apartment essentially, and it's self-sustaining. It has a laundry room, it has a kitchen and a bathroom and everything.
That's the same size as my condo that I live in, 750. I mean, it's totally doable. Yeah. And it's comfortable. And so that's awesome. That's a great space. I mean, I've seen, 300, 400 square foot casitas, and it's like, how does mom or dad or, whoever the parent feel living in that casita? Is it making them feel good or bad? But that, I feel like that size is livable. I mean, it's manageable for me as an individual, but with your parent porter business, I've really been learning a lot about the balance you need in life to live a long life. So you need your mindset, you need an environment, like your home environment, diet, exercise, community, so they talk about, my focus is on the home side of things. So even though they're there, and this is where I read some other books, where they talk about, the kids bring mom or dad into the house, but if they have young children, like the parent still feels very isolated and they don't feel the sense of community. They don't feel the home environment is not always the best place for them when they live with the children. So I think that's another conversation. That's why I wanted to ask you that, because you hear a lot of stories where it builds a lot of like resentment and fighting, and it's not always the best situation for the parent to move in with the child. So I'm glad you're having a different experience and you were able to create that space where everybody's happy and feels safe. So did you let her design it herself?
Yep. Okay. So everything about the house was very intentional because of exactly that. Like, we are going to have young kids running around, and my parents are involved as much as his parents are involved in all of that. So we were very intentional of like, this is a place that you get to shut the door, and grandkids don't get to knock on your door because there's 2 doors that they have to go through to get to you. And then also staying in that same house was good for her community because she knows the neighbors. She's close with the neighbors. She goes out to dinner with the neighbors. She'll drink on the patio with the neighbors. So that was an important piece of it. Yeah. And then from the design perspective, I let her have free reign. I took her on as one of my design clients. Like, okay, what do you want in here? I know what your true design sense is. I know what you have. What do you really want? Now that dad is passed, like, you get to make this however you want it, however you want to live. And so there was a few different things that were kind of funny about it. It's a fairly small little space in the design of it. In reality, an kitchen island wouldn't be the best use of space in there.
Right.
She knew she wanted an island. No matter what that meant, she knew she wanted an island. she has it. She has an island and she sits at it every night. She loves it. It's the best part. And she still has her own little living room that guests can come over. And she's allowed to come into the main house.
Right.
There just is a conversation about it.
Right. She's not just, hey, Mom, you're here again.
Yes.
What are you doing on our couch watching our TV?
Yep.
Like, no. She still has her space and she's still doing her thing. I love that it's in the community that she's been in. I mean, that house, I think you might have told me, were they one of the original owners? Or was when was that house built?
The house was built in like 1969. Okay. They bought it in 1989.
Okay.
So it was where my husband was born.
Okay.
He went to all those schools. But yeah, it was their big purchase house. And so yeah, she's been there for, I don't even know, what is that, 45 years or something ridiculous like that. 35 years. Yeah. Sorry.
I'm like, that's okay. I'm like, how old am I? I was born in 79.
I totally aged
them. So in that community, there are a lot of the original owners still living in that neighborhood?
Yep. And so like the next door neighbor had kids my husband's age. So they all grew up together, and the parents grew their kids up together and know everybody. There's been some changing hands, but it's a very community oriented neighborhood. So,
I love that. Is that considered the Shaberhood, or is that okay? That is the Shaberhood. Yeah. No, it's great. I love the mountain views, and it's just a nice little private little area in Phoenix that most people don't know about unless you've lived here for a long time.
Yeah, which is one of the things that we love about it. It's like you really get locals. Like you don't get a lot of influx of people unless they have a really good real estate agent.
Yeah, that's true. Where do you see your business going from here? Now that I've got you on my podcast and I'm talking to people with older parents, are you open to doing more multi-generational type design? I'll run this one by you. I have a couple older ladies I know, and the stats are that women live longer than men. So most of the, women, I think it was the stat I saw today was women over 44% of over 75 people are women.
Yeah.
So a lot of them are widows and they want to co-live. So, a lot of people do like sober living and like some of these other community houses, but I told Shireen about this one too. Like we need a co-living, like Golden Girls type house for these like super active, healthy, spunky older ladies that want to live together because, Arizona real estate's expensive.
Yeah.
And it's very unaffordable. And with people in their Social Security incomes, if they even have them in a few years, like all the things, I've talked to some people that we need to maybe start designing for our elder. Like 26% of Arizona's population, or I think Metro Phoenix, are people over 65 years old. Yeah. So we're going to have a big boom of all these older people that need care or to move in with their kids or to co-live or do some other things. So I've talked to you a little bit about aging in place as well and universal design. It's super important. Like how many homes are you renovating to make it more safe for people to live in right now?
I'm seeing a few different things kind of happen within the design world. One, aging in place is definitely a big thing. A lot of the people that have purchased their homes that are going to be staying in it, they're due for renovation anyways. Mm-hmm. And so at that time, we'll do anything that we can to make it so it's an easy conversion. A lot of people don't want to live in a home that feels like it's wheelchair ready. It just needs to be wheelchair ready.
Right.
And so how can we do that? What are the smart design elements that we can put in now? Things like blocking behind your shower walls so you can install grab bars. Super easy. It's already structurally sound. We can give you a map of exactly where it is in the wall. So as soon as you need it, you can just drill it in. They also make gorgeous grab bars now.
Yeah, no, I've seen them.
People don't know about. Wider door frames, things like that. That's all stuff that most people would have no idea when they walk into your house is wheelchair. My mother-in-law's casita is 100% wheelchair ready, but you would have no idea. All I have to do is pop a few doors off of like cabinets, and it's ready to go. So I'm seeing a lot of that, and I will help people do that a lot. And and it happens for people that aren't aging. It also, you never know what can happen in your life. So that's what universal design is all about. When I got sick, I had no idea that I wasn't going to be able to wash my hair for months. Like,
right.
I needed a handheld. That's easy to put in. So let's just make sure that those things are ready to go in at least one of the bathrooms. That's at a height that you can reach without having to raise your hand. Because what if you break your shoulder, or all sorts of different things like that. And then I really am helping a lot of people add casitas or ADUs or anything into their house, expanding their square footage to be able to allow stuff like that with independence. That's a big thing that people are really... Not everybody loves the idea of their parent coming to live with them. So how do we make that to where it's safe for everybody mentally and emotionally too?
Absolutely. Yeah, I did that. I got certified aging in place through the National Home Builders Association. So it did talk about how pretty the grab bars are now and doing the wall blocking. So I'm glad you said that, because there was a contractor in our class that was like, so many people don't do this.
Yeah.
And that's, why I found it really important to make sure that I found designers to work with and recommend to my clients, because I don't want them to have to redo the work, when something happens. And another thing that I was very surprised about in my class was, like you said, just traumatic events. Like the example they gave in the book was, college kid breaks his leg and has to come back home to the family, and he's in a wheelchair and his bedroom's upstairs, and they had to make all these modifications to the home for their young adult and teenage kids when they break bones and things like that. So universal design is for everybody, and that's one of the approaches I really want to take with Parent Porter business is making those recommendations for people to be proactive and start doing things inside their house. It will not only help their values later, like if they need to sell or when they need to sell. I'm the real estate agent that's going to tell you try to stay at home as long as you can, but let's make proactive decisions and make the home safer for you now so you can stay here longer, and maybe the kids do move in, and that would be a really cool project, because I think kids from the Midwest would come join their parents no problem, especially come wintertime. Oh man, mom broke her leg. I gotta go to Arizona now. So maybe those are some opportunities.
And you would have no idea. It doesn't cost much money to make your house universally designed. It doesn't cost it doesn't add that much work to just do those little tiny things that you really need to do. Right.
So what would the biggest problem I think would probably be a bathroom for somebody.
Yeah.
What would be the average price? Can you just give a range? You don't have to give me
in general, if you are going with very, very simple materials and plumbing fixtures that you can get from a Home Depot, we'll say.
Yeah.
Generally for a regular 3-piece bathroom that we're converting into a curbless shower, you're going to be around $10K. Okay. That goes, the more fancy you want to get, the more it goes up. And there's unlimited budgets to that. I have done hundreds of thousands of dollars in bathroom renovation. So
but $10K to renovate a bathroom versus now you fall and now you're incapacitated and now you have to go to assisted living, and assisted living is going to cost you $10K a month to live there. So doesn't it just make more sense to fix your home now and be proactive about all of these things? And so I think people just get really caught up on they don't want it to look ugly. They don't want to feel old. But honestly, I'm in my 40s, and there's days where I'm like, I've touched the grab bar. Don't get me wrong. I don't want to trip on things. I'm a single woman living by myself too. I want to avoid, any kind of hazards in my home. So, I think just being proactive as an aging person in general, you should want to do things like that for yourself.
Seriously, you have no idea. You have no idea things are easy to age into, with good design.
Do you have clients that it's something traumatic has happened and they need something done right away? Does that happen very often?
The one that I have a good reference point for was an older person, but they had a progressive disease and it progressed very quickly, and so it was hey Chandra, I need you in here immediately, we need to get this done. But he was very anti doing the construction because he didn't want to feel old in it.
Right.
And so what I did is I made this huge so you can roll in a wheelchair, you can turn around in your wheelchair in the shower, and it's totally it's full glass open, and so it just feels like a gorgeous master bathroom, but every single thing in that bathroom was thought about, from the door frames that we have to the way that the shower slopes, not too much of a slope, but enough that you're not going to get any water pooling, the safety structure of the glass component itself, the knobs that we have on the drawers, where the drawers are placed. So like, the wife is younger, so she was able to reach into the bottom ones. So we were make sure to put his stuff on the top ones that were easier for him to get to. And then I told them how to take off the doors and how we could modify if he needed a wheel under the sink. Bathroom, like toilet placement was a big deal. And it seemed silly to like change these things because it cost more money, but it really was like,
it makes more sense.
You had to do it.
I'm a tall girl and I sit on the short toilets and I'm like, how do people do this?
I don't even know why they make those anymore, to be honest with you. I don't know anybody.
I'm sure it's just like old places that just haven't replaced things, but it's just like, it makes a difference. It does. So anyway, I'm so glad that you came on here today. I know we could just talk forever, but it's like, if we get into another topic, we'll be way over our time. Yeah. So
well, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Tell everyone again your full name, your business name, and where they can find you. And we'll put it in the show notes as well. But
my name is Chandra Vargas. I own Studio Vargas Interior Design. And you can find me on Instagram's usually the easiest one at Chandra Vargas with a C, C-H-A-N, or chandravargas.com.
Awesome.
Thank you, Nicole.
Well, thanks again. And thank you all for listening. Again, I am just excited to help people stay in their home longer, happier and healthier. And we will see you again on the next podcast. My Parents Lied to Me. Thanks for listening to My Parents Lied to Me, where we face the realities of aging, family change, and midlife reinvention with a little grit and a lot of heart. If today's conversation helped you feel less alone, I would love for you to like it, share it with a friend, and hit follow so you don't miss the next story or tip that might help you navigate what's next. Because even if our parents didn't tell us everything, we're figuring it out one chapter at a time.